Okay, all right. Greetings. This one's for you, dear Aquarians. Thank you for dropping by to visit Tarot Lumination. That's you, Aquarius. This is Tarot Lumination, and this is your general broad spectrum Journey of the Heart report that we're doing for November 2018. Okay, so you've probably figured out we're going to have a look at the Tarot Lumination Astro Doodle in a moment before we get into the cards. We're shuffling to the last second so that you're a witness. Cards are shuffled in advance, but I'd like you to know for sure that you're getting a clear deck. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. I just love the cards the way they're made. I don't want to mess with it. So you know the routine. Read for your sun, moon, and rising if they're all different, and retell and reinterpret the story to suit yourself. Okay? It's the best way to do it. Also, while you're here, this is my chance to plug the Tarot Lumination membership program. So please check the links below, the description box. And also, please consider First Fridays. We're going to be doing this first Friday every month. First Friday of the month, group healing events. Check the links below. Let's have a look at the Astro Doodle here. You know, for so long, Aquarius, because of the Leo North Node and Mars in Aquarius recently, it's been very, very stressful for you, for a lot of Aquarians, just dealing with that alone, okay? Last year and a half or so. Well, things are going to change. Some of the more stressful ingredients I feel are going to drop away, and things are going to be a little bit more harmonious for you. I've got some, let me just go, you know, I'll do it quickly like this. These are the dates I've written out here in long form. The beginning of the month, November 2nd, a big fat grand earth trine, which is very stabilizing for everybody, including you, Aquarian and air sign. November 7th, a lot of activity happening around there. I'll show you in the charts at the moment. November 10th, important, mark your calendars. November 17th, mark your calendars. November 22nd and November 23rd. Let's get into it. I'll show you here. November 2nd, well, let's go to the November 7th. Let's start here. November 7th, we start with the Scorpio new moon up here. So this is right at the pinnacle of your chart, the place of your destiny, your fate, your mission here on Earth. Like, who are you when you leave the house, and what are you doing out there in the world? That is so important. Are you in tune with all of that? Either way, it's a very new beginning for you. So where that leads, who knows? But it often means with new beginnings, there's an end of something. For you, Aquarius, this would be a whole year cycle that is now completed regarding like status and career, mission, purpose, and achievement, and so on, and starting a whole new cycle again. So let's have a look at that. Moving on here, also November 7th, Uranus goes over here retrograde in Aries, over in your third house, communications, and basically day-to-day interacting, speaking and listening, teaching, learning things. And it was a 7-year journey through that house, but now it's in Taurus, but now it's heading back again for the last few months, and then it'll go back again to Taurus forever. Well, for 7 years. So you might get a feeling of weird action replays in this part of your life. Also on November 7th, again, the North Node is moving into Cancer. So that's the end of a journey that might have affected you in your primary relationships. The Leo journey is over, moving into Cancer. Let's keep going. November 10th, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius. This is going to be really sweet for you. A really, really, really big breath of fresh air, very healing, very beneficial. And on the 22nd, the sun moves into Sagittarius. That's going to amplify the good stuff here. And on the 23rd, we got the full moon in Gemini. So this is very harmonious energy for you, even though it's conflicted with Mars and Pisces. Now, let's not worry about that. Let's focus on the good stuff, okay? All this Jupiter and Sagittarius thing, all the energy, this is really towards the end of the month. The earlier part of the month is the heavy Scorpio energy, which could be very challenging for you, okay, over here. So let's please allow for that. For my personal notes, going very big, broad spectrum, the big standout events are that Jupiter is moving into Sagittarius, okay? It's a 1-year journey for everybody. And the North Node is moving into Cancer. It's a 1.5-year journey, roughly, for everybody. We might do a whole playlist on that. I don't know yet. But anyway, we got enough on this here for now to get us going. Let's jump into the month here. Oh, with this full moon, by the way, in your fifth house of true love and romance, creative self-expression, and so on, you could get some kind of like culmination thing coming to the surface when it comes to true love and romance over here, and how that bounces back to you in your community, like in like how are you operating in your wider community in a very selfless way, and what is that being reflected back to you in terms of an individual one-on-one situation? Who knows, there might be like some kind of love thing going on. There's a total separate playlist for love and relationship, by the way. I guess the big deal for you, I'm feeling over here, is the Scorpio new moon. Stressful, hard angles right on the tippy top of your career sector. All right, let's keep going. All right, Aquarius, let's get into it. Please invite your invisible friends, your spirit guides and angels, and all those wonderful beings who are there for you and who especially like to be there by invitation. So please go ahead and do that. Ask them, invite them to be here. That's what we do at Tarot Lumination. We're going to use this journey of the heart spread on the understanding that we're always pumping new blood, new life into our existence. And it behoves us to get our conscious waking selves, Aquarius, into closest alignment with heart energy, to love thyself, which is the ultimate task. Okay, cards are shuffled, and we're going to cut them up. Bless the cards. Bless you, Aquarius. Bless Tarot Lumination, and that we can even do any of this together. It's an amazing thing. All right, here we go. Cards are cut. Okay. Here's the heart of you. The heart needs what it needs. It wants what it wants, and it's praying and hoping and listening, waiting for you to get as consciously close, deliberately close, and in alignment in the right vibrational frequencies at the very core of you. For all the other chakras, maybe they're glowing. Maybe you've got the most amazing head chakras, or your belly button chakra, and your navel, and your derriere, and everything. But if you don't have this sorted out, none of the rest of it matters. So that's why we focus this so closely on Tarot Lumination. So what are you bringing in with you? Think of this as legacy energy. You might be feeling wiped out from a year and a half of stress. You might be feeling exhausted because Mars has been in Aquarius for quite a long time. It's still there, and it can put a lot of pressure. It's like overstimulation. It's just like, you start drinking coffee or something like that, or energy drinks or whatever, and you realize you get really miserable when it wears off, so you start drinking more and more, and it becomes this like vicious cycle. And it's so easy to get caught up in those things and then having to disconnect from that. That's what I'm sensing here for you, Aquarius. If you've been kind of wired and feeling like possibly overstimulated, overly conflicted, too much conflict arriving, too many conflicting signals going out, this will all be over right at towards the end of the month, once Mars goes into Pisces. Okay, you might not like that, or who knows, but it'll be out of Aquarius. You might lose a sense of drive by the end of the month, but frankly, I have a feeling it'll be a relief for you. This is the ever-present now. This is where we own all our power. Sometimes it's very hard to be here because it means being fully grounded, present, conscious here. Not dwelling in the past, not projecting to the future, here and now. The facts. Simple, pure reality and the facts. Three-dimensional, mundane reality. You can have all the heaven if you want, but while we're here on earth, we still have to deal with facts. So it is when you are in your power that you execute your power through the healing power of your decisions. And the number one decision being to love thyself. So what would that energy look like given the beat of the heart that we have going here? And once we understand what that is, how do we do this effectively so that we can love ourselves? Okay, Aquarius, so that you can be most effective at love thyself, which is the best thing that you could do for your loved ones, your workplace, your kids, your in-laws, your neighbors, and so on, creating an aura around you. And from there, that grows into a broader aura into your environment. And in so doing, you create consequences. You are becoming an instrument of the healing power of love in a very humanitarian way, which would be the Aquarian way anyway. So you're generating consequences. Instead of being a victim of life, you're co-creating with the energies that are out there. grabbing everything that's out there that's good for you. What happens when you mess up? Let's say this sounds like gibberish to you and you think that life is fated and the most you can hope for is just to, maybe get a day job if you're lucky and get paid and then like, get a credit card and have some fun, maybe hook up and, maybe, make babies or do whatever it is you think you want to do. Okay, Terra Illumination, we go beyond that. What happens if you are in the zone? You are making really good decisions and you are very consciously aligned with your heart. What does that look like? And so doing prospects and momentum over here. So let's look at circumstantial energy too. That's around you. Think of it as the weather, please. Sorry, it looks like every card is upside down. That's quirky. That's normal for you, Aquarius. So every card is upside down. I'm just going to double check. And yes, we'll spin them up. So before we get into it, just absorb the imagery here of the little Three of Cups. Beautiful card. I'm just going to tell you, my feeling is that it's time to celebrate a change. Big changes coming up. I would guess a reduction in stresses and an increase in joviality and opportunities to be happier and evolve in ways that are less stressful. We're always evolving, and sometimes the most stressful circumstances create the most rapid and significant evolution, but it can be overwhelming at times. So I have a feeling that this is going to be a relief for you, Aquarius, coming up. Let's have a look. The shift is happening this month, and it'll be fully shifted much more towards December. So we'll talk about that later. All right. So what's going on here at the core, very heart of you? Okay. King of Swords is here. And my feeling is, hold on, let's go back. Let's go back. Okay. Little Three of Cups. To me, this is an indication that whether you know it, whether you are aware of it or not, but Aquarians, you might be very surprised to look around you and realize that you are loved. You are deeply loved and deeply appreciated somewhere by someone, perhaps several others in one way, shape, or form. Maybe it's platonic. Maybe it's romantic. Maybe it's business. Maybe it's your uniqueness, whatever it is. It's time for you to celebrate this with others and for others to celebrate themselves with you. Very much in a community setting like this, which is perfect for Aquarius. So let's have a look here. The card, my feeling with the King of Swords, my feeling is that the heart is saying, it's okay, Aquarius. It might be an idea to have what do they call it? Debriefing session. After a year or so of very, very stressful alignments for you, Aquarius, it might be an idea to get professional advice, counsel, to debrief everything and extract all the value that you have amassed from the recent transitions and all the hugely stressful aspects and so on, and get yourself ready and prepared for what lies ahead. It would be a good idea to get, professional feedback in some way, shape, or another. Also, it looks like you might be calling out, your soul might be calling out to you, the conscious Aquarius, saying, hey, you know what? It's time that we became the master. We became the master of ourselves. We've lived through being the teacher. Now it's time for the teacher to become the master. Okay? The master. You carry so much unique wisdom and knowledge and spontaneous goodness, Aquarius, that you might as well make the most of it and enjoy it. Rejoice in how well you've done just to survive and get this far. You're actually alive, Aquarius. If you're watching this reading, you are a live, living, pulsing being on the very fringes of the cool stuff. Terra Illumination itself is on the very fringes of evolution, and you're here, so we're probably a good match in some way. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, kaboom. Wow, thank you very much. So we have the Ten of Cups here. My feeling is that maybe you're already sensing the relief coming to you ahead. Maybe you can already see and feel the signposts changing and shifting around you where you're starting to realize all the stress that you've endured was worth it because you've created something and you now own something that nobody can take from you. With the Ten of Cups here, this is the energy of like having that sense of family. Maybe you've just recently become a member. I don't know. I don't check every detail, but we've got this new membership thing, plug, where uh, like it's like a family that's forming, and it feels really good for Terra Illumination, and the members seem to enjoy it really well. So I'm trying to convey something similar that I feel is happening with you, where you might feel as though you are starting to get at the frequencies where you feel you're part of a tribe, part of your tribe, maybe even Terra Illumination Love Tribe, but somehow that tribe of family, happy family. It could be a very esoteric family. It could be an online family. It could be spouses and children. It could be work family. Whatever it is, where you feel the love and it's actually flowing as a rich, delicious current through you, and that you've probably struggled extremely hard to get to that point, to be able to do that, to come into this reading and have these kind of cards. It's truly something to celebrate. What about the now? Okay, my feeling again with the Four of Swords here is that it's all, to me, it almost feels like we're the end of a marathon in some way for you, Aquarius. And in some ways it's been exhausting. And you know that feeling like, I'm not a marathon runner, by the way, Aquarius. I'm trying to do an analogy. I used to be very athletic and sporting as a child, and I know what it's like to dive into everything, experience the extreme pains of endurance and having to combat and overcome and achieve and succeed using your wits above everything else. Yes, you have to have physical attributes and so on, but a lot of success is to do with having a very astute mind and a very astute attitude. Okay? And creating success that way. But you could have also reached a level of burnout here, where it's time here and now to accept that like you're at the end of a sort of a big cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. I'm attributing that to the two things happening here: the Scorpio new moon, November 7th, and the ingress of Jupiter into Sagittarius, amplified later on by the Sun in Sagittarius. These two factors here are going to be the big ones for you during the month of um, November, Aquarius. And this to me feels like the end of an exhausting thing and the beginning of healing and a renewal going forward here. But it does mean having to live through that debriefing moment where you basically, like when like runners collapse after a marathon and they just wipe out and they're insanely gigglingly happy because they actually made it to the finish line. They're not even concerned whether they won. They just made it. They set this amazing thing for themselves and they prevailed, but they're exhausted. They're wiped out and they need to heal and debrief and consider what they've learned through such extreme duress. Let's have a look over here, the healing power of your decisions. You have the King of Wands. Wow, this is very supportive of you, Aquarius. I feel this represents like a symbolization of symbol. Is there such a word? I don't know. It's like the embodiment of the Jupiter energy now, combined with the Scorpio new moon. This is a chance for you, Aquarius, when you're making your decisions about how to move forward through November, doing like accepting that you're going to have to do this kind of like a wipeout thing and a debriefing and get professional help if you need to, and achieve mastery, like let the student become the teacher, allow that to happen, and in such a way where you can now be the guide, you can now be the source of inspiration and leadership to others, and doing it deliberately. Okay, and it's kind of a big deal to do that, stepping out of one modality of life into another modality, switching from student to teacher, going from learning how to evolve and grow, instead becoming a guide and a leader in how to evolve and grow. That's kind of a big thing. But to do that, it means you have to honor and respect yourself at these levels where you truly believe you have these capacities and don't wimp out. Okay? With great responsibility comes great power. So I feel that you've got that. And maybe you wanted this deliberately, or maybe it has just fallen upon you where you have these responsibilities now to basically to lead. And you've got the benefics of Jupiter behind you. You've got that riding with you for a year. So please take advantage of it and think of it in terms of career. You can even think of it, yes, in career terms, where you're getting set up right now. You know, Scorpio rules your career sector. So it's very, very intense, important part of your life. Who you are in this world, your destiny, what are you doing while you're here? How do you do this effectively? Okay, you move on and on and on away from anything and everything that doesn't work. You leave it behind and you focus only on the good stuff and create that as a practice going forward, okay? And bring your loved ones with you. You know, happiness is something inside. It doesn't matter too much about the possessions in life. It's much more about the sense of joy and happiness that you've built inside, creating consequences. Okay. So my feeling is with these new beginning, okay, let's just say, okay, this is the Seven of Pentacles here, okay? So my feeling is that I feel that we're very much saying goodbye to a year's journey here, saying hello to a new journey that's opening in front of you, which is lighter, more, has a broader landscape, and will still be intensely focused because of the new moon right up here, basically triggering a whole new year's worth of growth, especially in terms of destiny. And it'll be benefic for you. And what happens is, consequently, when you start a whole new journey, let's just say you do step into the shoes where, in a kind of broad spiritual sense, you have ascended now, you've done the self-healing, you're doing it, you're moving on, you're making the decisions how to do this. You do it deliberately and consciously, almost like a yoga practice or something. And with the Seven of Pentacles, it's like starting from scratch again. Okay, just like Tarot Lumination said, we're starting from scratch at the bottom of a brand new ladder. But the ladder is probably a lot more, let's say, conducive to growth and expansion for you. So again, at the bottom of the ladder, you'd have to go through almost like a, let's say you do this thing, as for the sake of analogy, the student becomes the teacher. So when you become the teacher, and you've never operated at that ascended level, then you realize you're starting all over again, where you have to deliberately cultivate something new, maximizing your assets, doing as much housekeeping as necessary to minimize everything that obstructs the growth and abundance coming towards you, and not treat any challenges as failures, but treat them as opportunities to grow your talents and grow your gifts. And so the journey goes on. What happens if you screw up, if you lose the courage, or you kind of give up on yourself? You get stuck with the Two of Swords here. It's almost like you deliberately strap yourself into an evolutionary tide pool where all the momentum and all the duress that you've had to endure through all of this journey becomes wasted because you're too scared to move on to the next step. You basically say, I've just had enough. I'm just going to chill out. I've reached a plateau in life. It's never going to get better, so I'm just going to chill out and just leave life be what it is, and everyone else can deal with their own crap. But so it's kind of like giving up. With great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibilities. It might be very tempting for you to step aside and not do this, not become the teacher, not become a leader, not become the inspiration to others, because it's a lot of work. Starting all over again means new attitudes, new perceptions. But if you do this effectively, treat it as a mission, as a goal, as a destiny, as a purpose for being here, then it puts you in a position of being the decider, where you can basically face everything, break it and boil it down into a decision, like a yes, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. If we do this, we sacrifice that. If we do this, we sacrifice that, and so on. And it becomes impersonal. There's no harm intended. And that can be a very effective way to prevail, using your astute mind to do that and be that, and not being scared of having to hold. Sometimes the best decision is to do nothing at a certain moment in time, and that's what a wise leader would do. You know, at some point, sometimes you just can't go crashing around like I'm a leader, I'm a winner, I'm a teacher now. Sometimes we have to like take pause. Okay, let's have a look at momentum here leading up to things. Aha, see with the Ace of Pentacles? Again, new starts and new beginnings for you. I don't think it's going to happen like a flip of a switch, Aquarius. I think the things that we've talked about here, the themes that we've mentioned, are going to unfold. It's going to unfold as you understand this more and more and more, as you understand how lucky you are to be who you are, where you are already, no matter how challenging it might have been. Understand that you do have a tribe, you do belong, you are deeply loved, okay? And it's all been worth it in some way, shape, or another. And this will gently unfold. I think this reading here extends above and beyond November. I think this is a very kind of loud reading for new starts and new beginnings in your destiny. And it's going to be very supported, and you're going to feel it in your community where you're going to, let's say, be more respected, more valued, more understood, more appreciated, and have more knowledge and wisdom to offer, being that guide, that inspiring leader. And all of that turns into something real, something substantial that you have created, and you can continue to create by enacting this thing here, kind of like a formula. Okay? So I hope it works for you. Uh, Please make the most of it. Reinterpret however you want. I know some of you are very astute readers yourselves, so go for it. But this is what Tarot Illumination has to offer. Thank you so much. See you guys again. Bye bye.